Hello and welcome to Talk of the Games match preview of Spurs against West Ham United. International break is done. It's over and done with for another 4 weeks. And it's back to the Premier League as we take on Tottenham. Gonzo, would you like to kick us off with your thoughts on Spurs, please?
Yeah, I think Spurs are a good team. I think they've had. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think they've had too much stick, really. Spurs are one of those clubs that they are where they are, right? And I know that's an awful thing to say and a non-descriptive thing to say. They're in and around the top six. That's what they are. They had a really good run and reached a Champions League final under Pochettino. Had a really good run under Harry in the Champions League. Sometimes Tottenham will get in the Champions League and then sometimes they won't. At the moment, they've got an attacking manager who will probably keep them in and around the top six. Beforehand, they've had some defensive managers who would probably keep them in and around the top six. I just think they're sort of where they're supposed to be. I thought they took really good advantage of a crap Manchester United team. Let's be fair. I don't know how that guy's hanging on to his job unless something's happened that I haven't heard about in the last 2 or 3 days while I've been away. But they played really well in the first half against Brighton, and then Brighton sort of came back, who are another good team, and Brighton came back in the second half. And yes, I understand they maybe weren't pressing as ferociously as they were in the first half, but that happens in a game of football anyway. I look at Postecoglou and I saw a lot of memes about him afterwards, and particularly he was sort of there with his head bowed and shoulders hunched, which you could see in the background with the Brighton fans jumping up and down behind him. And it was almost, the picture had been painted almost of a solemn man, of a man who was on the cusp of losing his job. Oh, this is all awfully traumatic. I don't mean I'm quite sure they'll win their next game because I hope not, because their next game's against us. But mate, in 2 months' time, they're just, they're going to be in and around the top six, and people will be talking about Ange Ball, and they just need to. That's where they are. Okay, they're not top. They're not a top 2 or 3 team. They're not going to be a top 2 or 3 team. So then it just it's a matter of deciding: do we want to? Okay, are we aware of where we are? Are we aware of our place in the pecking order and the food chain? And at that point, you just got to decide which sort of football you want to play. I think they're all right, mate.
I don't think there's much point in me speaking, to be honest with you. I think you've absolutely nailed that.
I've been off for 3 days. That's what happens.
Been practicing your Spurs speech.
I don't know one to speak to, mate. Basically, you've got the brunt of it, and so have the subscribers.
But in regards to Ange Ball, then, are you, say, a fan of it? You're right. I think there's been 2 bits of criticism at Spurs. One is Spurs, and the other one is perhaps a little bit more ferocious and specific, which is at Postecoglou in the way he goes around, in the way that they play football. And when he first arrived, it was deemed this revelation, all hail Ange Ball, and then they're still doing the same thing, but I feel like the media's turned on it now, which is Ange Ball's crap all of a sudden, even though it's the same thing.
Well, I'd have him. I'd have him at West Ham. I've got to say, I like it. I think it's entertaining. I think it's good. I think sometimes he gets unpicked, and then sometimes he doesn't. But they've lost. This is the thing. They've lost Harry Kane. That is huge. And they maybe, just maybe, he looks like Solanke's going to do a good job up there, but he's not going to be Harry Kane. Son is not. Understandably, he can't keep that form up. Son, he's done remarkable. He was in form for years. You sort of look out with Son, really. I know he took can't remember whether it was on Conte or someone else. He took a little dip under one of the managers. Can't remember which one, but brilliant player. He's probably 31, 32 now, something like that. He's not going to be able to. There was points where he was outscoring Harry Kane. It's ridiculous. They've not got the players that some of the bigger teams have got. They can't spend like Chelsea can spend, for instance, and maybe some of the other teams. Mate, I think they've got a really good manager there. I think financial fair play is probably going to bite them on the arse a little bit and stop them spending massively big. But then again, their owner, who again is not particularly popular, has probably put an infrastructure in place that will mean that they continue to be a top 6 club. Tottenham in a very, very healthy state.
Yeah, now I'm going to give my tuppence after Gonzo's just nailed the Postecoglou situation, the Spurs situation, really. But I think the way the media have been with Postecoglou epitomizes the English media, and we're seeing it with Tuchel at the minute. We're seeing just what the English media can be like. they're already going after England's manager, and he wasn't even officially announced when they started going after him. To sum it up, there was a journalist who did an article 3 days ago saying, "Go get Pep Guardiola. This is the guy for the England job." Then he did an article yesterday, 3 days later, saying, "Foreign manager is England. What's going on? But foreigner England. Hang on a minute. 3 days. It took you 3 days." And I think it's almost like a child with a new toy. When Postecoglou arrived, it's like, wow, this guy's entertaining in press conferences. His football's entertaining. You're guaranteed headlines with Spurs and Postecoglou because he's giving you snippets that you can use, and they're playing football that you can use. So as a journalist, it's heaven. Tottenham and Postecoglou, it's a match made in heaven as a journalist. And it feels like this season they've almost got a little bit fed up of their new toys. It's boring now. He keeps saying the same things, and this was fun 12 months ago, but there's only so many times you can say mate and we all jump on it, and it's nice to use. And I just think that nothing's really changed as far as I'm concerned for Postecoglou. Tottenham, it's the same Postecoglou I've seen in Scotland at Celtic. He's still doing the same thing. It's just the media has changed in regards to how he goes about it. I completely agree with everything you've just said there. I think Spurs are a side that could maybe get into the top 4, will be in and around the top 6, outsiders for winning a trophy. And that's what they are. I think he's achieved. I don't think he's overachieving, but wouldn't say he's underachieving either. And when you look at their squad, they've got some top players, and there's a lot of players I really like at Tottenham. But I wouldn't say they've got a world-class player in there, which is something you could say for Man City, you could say it for Liverpool, and you could say it for Arsenal, and you could say it for Chelsea. And then when you look at the other team in that 6, or the cartel 6 of the Premier League, which is Man United, and there are sort of similar attitudes there, not in regards to the manager's underperformance, but just in regards to the squad not quite being good enough to compete with the other ones, and they'll be in a similar situation come the end of the season. And I think for Tottenham this season, I don't know how you feel, I think the priority should be to win a trophy, possibly, or it should be the Europa League, really, because that gives you Champions League football off the back of it. But Postecoglou is a manager that can win trophies. Now, granted, they've had other managers in the past, like Mourinho and Conte, who have won trophies, and Spurs is actually the blank on their CV, but Postecoglou can win trophies. I know people say, oh, it's the Scottish League, but it's all relevant. It's not just the Scottish League. It was over in Australia and that as well. Before that, he was winning trophies there, and it's all relevant because he didn't have players as good as he had at Tottenham. He had players that were at the level of the league he was in, but he was winning silverware with those. I don't think his skills from Australia to Scotland to England are transferable. The only significant difference, I guess, is that I think the media almost to some extent, because in Scotland it's split in two, some prefer Celtic and some prefer Rangers, and you're either going to have people on your side or you're going to have people on your back, regardless of which club you manage. And down now he's come to Tottenham, it's like I think it's the media is a little bit more vultures around you, and Ten Hag's getting it at the minute as well. They're just constantly going at him. Even when Man U say, okay, we're sticking with him, it's almost like the media aren't satisfied. No, you're not allowed to stick with him. We're going to keep on going. We're going to keep on going until you sack him, essentially. So yeah, I think this season, I think they have to win silverware, and I think the Europa League should be their priority.
Yeah, I think so. But I think they should, and they can, and possibly even will. They've definitely. When you talk about world-class players, I completely agree. But the trouble is, they almost get beaten with a stick because they're not world-class, and that's fine. I watched. I can't remember which game it was. I watched Timo Werner get pulled apart, absolutely picked apart. And do you know what? He'd been a threat. Timo Werner is a fast player that doesn't particularly score goals, but he still does a job for them. They can't afford that. Look, the fast wide winger that does score goals is called Mohamed Salah. They can't buy him, and they can't. So they get with him. I think they've still got some really, really good players. I think they've got a young squad. I think they're improving. I think more or less they buy well. I think some of last season's players are going to come good, and some of this season's are. So I feel. Do you know what? It's weird. It's weird that I'm defending Tottenham anyway, but it's weird that I feel the need to, because
you're doing a better job at it than Postecoglou does.
No, yeah, shit at defending. That's absolutely, brilliant. Well, not brilliant, but
it is on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, what can you say, Gio? What can you say? They are exactly where they should be, and where they should be, as you rightly say, puts them in with a really, really good chance of winning that Europa League. We nearly won the Europa League. You know, if we'd have bought, I'm adamant, if we'd have bought one player in that January transfer window, we beat, and you know, it's that one player and no red card for Cresswell. I think we're winning that Europa League. You know, as what happened in the semi-final against Frankfurt, I really do believe that they can win it. They've got plenty of quality in there, and they get into the Champions League. But that's it. But if they do get into the Champions League, off the back of it, just don't expect consecutive 10 years of the Champions League. That's not going to happen, because you will eventually go down and find your level.
Players you admire?
The centre-backs, Van der Ven, I think, is a really good player. Again, flavour of the month. It starts coming in for a load of stick. He's a really good player. I hate Romero, dirty bastard. But, you know, he is so... You'd sort of like him in your team, really, wouldn't you? I think he's really good. I like Maddison, twisty, turny. Perhaps not hit the form of... he started last season really, really well. So maybe not in that sort of form, or... You know, you don't know. They've got a new manager now, England, as you say. So maybe he'll force his way into that. You don't know, but he's a good player. I like the composition of it. I like, sometimes I see Basuma and like the way he plays as well. I think Archie Gray was a good signing, by the way. I think he will come good eventually when he plays. And I think Brennan Johnson has gone up a level this season. There's plenty of good players there, mate.
I think Maddison has turned on this season, though. I agree with you. Last season started well, dipped, came back from injury, didn't really pick up. But this season, I think since Postecoglou dropped him a little bit deeper, he's really started to influence the games more. And weirdly, he's picking up more assists and goals from almost like a number 8 role rather than a number 10 role. So dropping that 10, 15 yards back has made a significant difference for Maddison. I think he's sort of getting back to his best. It does add a vulnerability in midfield, I think he's not the best when Tottenham are out of possession. I think it becomes a bit of an issue, but when they are in possession, I think he adds a lot to that team in the way that Tottenham play. I think it's working for him in there. I agree with Brennan Johnson, you know, came in for stick for the start of the season when Spurs weren't doing too well. And then since then, he's gone on to continue scoring goals in the Premier League, League Cup, Europa League, internationally with Wales. So he's doing all right, Brennan Johnson. Yeah. He's scoring goals in every competition at the minute, and they're danger man. The player I will add into that is Pedro Porro. I think he's fantastic. I really do. I think he's such a good right back. Very athletic, gets forward really well. I think he reads the game really well. A danger from crosses, danger from potentially scoring. I think he ticks every box for me as a footballer. I really like him. And Kulusevski's finding his form again as well. He was somebody when he arrived on loan initially. He was like, wow, they've got their third man, Son, Kane, Kulusevski. He was like, here we go. They've got the attack now. Then last season, I was watching him and he just wasn't really doing it. But this season, I think he's back to his best. Funny enough, in James Maddison's position, in sort of playing behind Dominic Solanke, and I think he's working well with Solanke as well. So plenty of talent at Spurs. Shall we talk about West Ham?
I think so, mate. Yeah.
Before we do, I just want to point in the direction of this video sponsor, Match Bingo. Now we've got a new offer on. We've got 2 offers for you. One is an existing one, which you already know about. We've got a new one, which is literally just launched this month, and it's for new sign-ups to Match Bingo. If you download the app via the link in the description, and please do use that link so they know they come from Hammers Chat. And when you sign up and deposit £10, you will receive £10 free credit as well. So you get a little bit more bang for your buck if you sign up to Match Bingo. So you get 20 quid to play with instead of the £10 that you deposit. Plus, on top of that, there's a promotion for everybody. Doesn't matter if you've been using Match Bingo 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, or since February, since we've been working with them. We can all get this promotion. And it's 3 cards free after. So you buy 3 and you get 2 free. So it's cost you £6 in total, but you will get 5 cards for the Spurs West Ham game, £2 per play. Now, it is a gambling app, so please do gamble responsible and 18 years and over only. But you'll get 15 things you need to happen in the game. There are some really simple things on there that's almost dead cert to win, such as West Ham to have a goal kick, Spurs to kick off one of the halves. So by the 45th minute, you've already got something on your card and you're up and running. It pays out first line, second line, full house, plus a bonus pot as well. So there's 4 ways that you can win ahead of this game. We've had loads of winners, closer to 150 subscribers of Hammers Chat, and some people won a 3-figure sum of money. Not everybody has won a 3-figure sum of money. I should be cleared on that one. But if you fancy getting involved, add a little bit of spice to the derby, then download the Match Bingo app using the link in the description below. Deposit £10, grab £10 free credit, and good luck to anybody participating this weekend like myself and Gonzo are. Right then, Gonzo, West Ham team news. By the looks of it, everybody's available, bar one guy.
Fullkrug.
Got a bit of a problem with Fullkrug, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, just literally 5 minutes before we started recording this video, it has been a bit of information from the club that he may be available from the bench at best, but is a fitness issue now. So I think the club has suggested he's maybe not as injured as we thought, but I think reading between the lines, he is not going to play in this game. If that's the best that he might appear off the bench, he's not available.
Yeah, so that's the team news as far as it's concerned, and there's potentially team news regarding one other player who plays, well, say further up the pitch. You can't be further up the pitch than Fullkrug, but an attacking player. We'll get onto him in a second. Gonzo, this is a team me and you would like to see, not what we think Lopetegui will do. So would you like to talk me through your goalkeeper and defence that you'd like to see? Because I assume that this is going to be nice, quick and simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we've got Areola in goal. Obi-Wan Bissaka, Todibo, Max Kilman, Emerson, and yeah, that's the back five, if you like.
Completely agree. That's the same for myself, and I imagine a lot of West Ham fans will be agreeing with that one. But do get involved in the comments. Let us know the team you want to see start against Spurs. Now, moving into midfield, this is where we blow that myth out of the water, potentially. That myth being never change a winning team. So against Ipswich, we've seen Guido Rodriguez and Thomas Souček start at the base of midfield. Would you stick with that, or would you be changing it?
No, I'll swap Rodriguez out, and I will put Alvarez back in, and I'm not moving Souček at all. He's just a massive threat this season, and I think he deserves his place and deserves to keep his place. And on another day would have had 2 goals against Ipswich, by the way. So yeah, there's a lot there to admire from Souček there. So I would keep him in.
I completely agree with you. I think 3 reasons, really. First of all, the reason is why you take Rodriguez out of the team, just pace, the way that Tottenham play. I think he might struggle a little bit. He'll be okay when they have that build-up and we're sitting on the edge of our 18-yarder in a low block. He's okay then. It's just when the game gets a little bit stretched, which it could be with 2 teams potentially playing a high line on Saturday, we could see a little bit of ping pong. We have a go, you have a go, a bit of a basketball game going on. I think that's when Rodriguez struggles. Why do you bring in Alvarez? For the reasons you take Rodriguez out, he can cover that ground a little bit more, has that little bit of bite in midfield. And why Thomas Souček? Well, for the reasons Gonzo said, but the other thing I'll put in top of that is one of Spurs' biggest weakness, which everybody knows about. It's not a secret. It's Vicario at set pieces. You don't like it. Whenever a team gets a corner, that guy's panicking and he's flapping because everyone knows he's a weakness, and that mentally that must be a pretty tough thing to do when you're the goalkeeper and there's opposition players are trying to wind you up and get in your face. And when teams get a corner against Spurs, they must be licking their lips a little bit. And I want to be a threat at set pieces, and I think we'd be stupid not to try and be a big threat because we've not been great at set pieces yet this season. So we're coming up against a team who can have a bit of an issue with the goalkeeper at defending corners. The last thing you want to do is not capitalize on those moments. I think Thomas Souček is the biggest threat at set pieces. It's as simple as that, really. So Souček and Alvarez for me. Now, moving into attacking midfield, Gonzo, I think the other bit of team news is that the situation's changed once again with Lucas Paqueta. So he's gone away with Brazil. He hasn't played very well. Got a yellow card after 3 minutes, so he's suspended for the game against Peru. So he's only played 1 game. However, the Brazilian FA have now told him get his arse over to Brazil at the end of October, a couple of games after the Man U game and 4 games before the Nottingham Forest one. So that's difficult, and it's something West Ham are looking into at the minute. But put that to one side for one moment. It's something else for Lucas Paqueta to contend with, because up until now, the Brazilian FA were sort of Team Paqueta. If you're like, no, we're going to keep using him, we're going to keep picking him. But now it's changing a little bit that his homeland's now saying, right, you need to come over here and we're going to have our own case with you. I think you've got to take that into consideration personally. So would you like to tell me your attacking midfielder options, please?
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, so was the manager. The manager was very much Team Paqueta, and now he's openly criticising him. So I feel that the tide has turned. You've got 3 investigations. I know, he is not at the front and centre of the Spanish one, but he's implicated. There's no doubt about it. Spanish FA, English FA, Brazilian FA. How long before FIFA get involved? It was a real shame because I thought he was
better.
Yeah, some recovery may be going on against Ipswich. It was better. Got the goal, and I don't just mean because of the goal. His pecker seemed to be up a little bit, and Paqueta. Anyway, excuse me. It was. He just seemed to be on the road to recovery. It's not that boxer though. It's that boxer who's taken several blows and been knocked down a few times, and he started to get up. He started to get up off the canvas, and just he's got off on the canvas, it just feels like that's happened. I couldn't play him, Geo. I think it might have gone too far. I couldn't be certain of his mental state, and I wouldn't blame him. By the way, let me say that I would not blame him at all. I'm going to play Bowen on the right. I'm going to play Kudus in attacking midfield, and I will play Crescencio Somerville on the left-hand side.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, this is hard as a fan because we don't know the ins and outs, and we don't know what Paqueta's like. Maybe he's gotten back to the training ground and he's joyous as ever, but I struggle to believe it because his form's not been great either. I do agree he was better against Ipswich in previous games, but he still wasn't like old Paqueta. It was still an undercooking Paqueta that we had in our team. But Brazil has always been his safe space. In the summer, Lopetegui and Tim Steidten were keen to speak about how he's gone back home and they're going to go visit him and give him a cuddle, and he's feeling okay now. He's back home and stuff. He's gone over there and just got battered by the manager, the media, the fans. It's no longer his escape. He used to get away from the English FA. Now he's gone over there, and actually those allegations are following him over there as well. So actually it's front and center now, and I can't imagine how difficult it must be for him. So I agree with you. We might have the same 11 here, but Bowen on the right has to be Kudus in number 10, who also had a poor international break. And then Somerville on the left, who had his feet up during the international break. That leaves the striker position then. So obviously we know Fullkrug's out. Antonio was away with Jamaica. Danny Ings was with Somerville back at Russia Green. So what's your option on this? You've got a curveball to throw at me.
I was tempted. I did have a little tempting curveball. As you know, a little while ago, a few years ago.
Front end Solar.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, Big Fat Sam went and played a 10-0-0, didn't he? And got the win against Tottenham and Revel Morrison.
England under 21s. England under 21s played false 9 this week and won 7-0.
I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that. So there's a temptation there. I almost had a little feeling about maybe chucking Guilherme in, as in like not giving him a position, almost giving him that and letting him, because he's just got outright pace, and then to really, I think they're so good, those Tottenham defenders. I wouldn't overly want. Romero always does well against Antonio as well, by the way. And I don't know if that's the pairing that they'll select, but Van der Ven's good as well. And I almost feel like giving them nobody to mark. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not clever enough. And so I probably am going to throw Antonio in there because I don't have much choice. Because if I think they can do a job on Antonio, I'll just eat Danny Ings alive. And no one wants to see that. So, what can you say? No Fullkrug, and but once again, another season we're lacking in the striker department.
Well, where are those straws? Because I'm a way to clutch at them here, and I'm going to make a case for Antonio striker. Now, historically, post-international break, you don't get beast mode Antonio. You get tired and jet-lagged Antonio. However, here's the straws. With Jamaica, he didn't play the first game. He was an unused sub. He played the second game. He played 83 minutes against Honduras, where they drew 0-0. But that game, now, if you go back 4 weeks ago to the previous international break, his second fixture kicked off Wednesday morning at 3 a.m.
Yes.
This fixture, the second one that he participated in, kicked off at 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. So there's quite a significant difference, a 25-hour difference in terms of kickoff time. So it's quite possible he was back in London Tuesday evening. So actually, he would have 3 games or 3 days preparation for this one against Tottenham. So I think his personal preparation for this game is better than it was 4 weeks ago, where he was just absolutely. I can't recall who we played at international break, but
they played Honduras as well. Actually, funny enough.
Yeah, but he was when he came back and played for West Ham, so he was just absolutely shot up front. He couldn't really move, could he? So I think a bit different with this one, and I think it's needs must really. The alternative, like you said, is Danny Ings, which scored a goal against Fulham, but we've got worked hard against Liverpool, but there's little evidence as to why he should start. So I would start Michail Antonio for this one. Right then, before we talk about how optimistic we are, we've got a couple of little Hamish chat updates. First of all, got a sale on at the minute on our online store. We've also added some new items. We've got some signed prints from former players like Phil Parks that's just gone on sale on this store. We've also added some memorabilia up there, some bits and pieces that we had lying around, like a program from the last ever game Upton Park, signed by Jeff Hurst, Sir Trevor Brooke and High Renat. That's gone up for sale. But you can also pre-order 2 new items coming up to Hamish Chat. It's 2 different styles of jumpers. You can pre-order them. We've got some new lines coming out as well. But the sale lasts until 5 p.m. on Friday, so go have a little look. We've discounted some things: t-shirts, mugs, Julian Dick signed prints. The Conference League beer mats are 47% off. It's a weird percentage, but that's what they are. Links in the description below, and also fan cams. If you would like to send us your reaction after the game on Saturday, get your phone out, landscape mode, record your thoughts. It could be buzzing that we've won, you could be angry we've lost, discussing a player performance, what Lopetegui done, anything. It's completely up to you, as long as it's your honest opinion. Send it to us, linked in the description below, which will contain all the details. But just record it on your phone. You've seen other people doing it in the last couple of weeks. You get involved as well. We are rewarding people for their fan cams. All details below. Don't be shy. Get involved. You ever thought, I fancy a pop at this YouTube thing? Here's your opportunity. We put it up on this channel or the Foldham channel. Fan cams across both. So the more people get involved, the better. Right then, Gonzo, are you optimistic?
No, but I'm not dreading it. The old international break's a funny one because it doesn't just kill momentum in the team. It kills momentum, I think, in how you're feeling about things, you know. And I think off the back of a win, which is good, but then that sort of dissipates. Then you sort of look back and yes, okay, it was against a team that you would hopefully expect to beat as well. Too much, as was said at the start of the video, is made on you. Honestly, you would think Tottenham are in crisis. They're really not. They're really not. They're fine. They're absolutely fine. They lost a game, and it seemed like the world seemed to collapse. So we're still going to face a really, really good team. There's no doubt about it. But maybe, just maybe, this is a time when Lopetegui's tactics may well suit this game. They may well, if he can sort his defence out, which has looked better. I think Edson Alvarez being in there will improve things. We certainly have enough attacking players to cause them bother. There's no doubt about that. And it wasn't just, I just made the point, I think maybe Kudus playing seemed almost like an emergency response to Paqueta's plight at the moment. I can make a really good case for why Kudus should be playing in this position against Tottenham, irrespective of how Paqueta's doing or not doing at the moment. So I think him playing centrally would cause Tottenham a lot of bother. I think he'd be in that sort of no man's land, if you want, tactically, where perhaps their central defenders can't engage him. If they do, they're probably going to have to be running out of position and creating gaps that maybe Bowen could run into or something like that. And I just think he'd start unleashing shots. And I think it could be. I'm not ruling West Ham out of this. I'm really not. Am I confident? No, but West Ham can win this game.
I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic when we play Spurs. I feel like we've got a good record against them under David Moyes. We always had a chance. I was critical of how Moyes approached some away games against that Premier League 6. It was a bit white flaggish. Tottenham, no, he didn't do that against Tottenham compared to, say, Man City away or something. I always feel quite optimistic we're going to get a win when we play Spurs, actually. And we've had some good success against them over the last few years and some big moments as well. And it's an opportunity for players to really, I say, become a hero, but do something. Have a moment. Antonio's had some, Lanzini's had some, Obiang had one. It gives your players a chance to arrive, if you like. Imagine Somerville starts this game and scores and we win. It's like, wow, there's Somerville's moment. And you can go on and change the trajectory of your career at West Ham off the back of it. And listen, I know people say, oh, it's your cup final, blah, blah, blah. Well, at least we win ours then, if this is our cup final. It doesn't bother me, people trying to slag off West Ham fans for this being a big game. I don't care. It is. I care about this game. And I always say it, and I'll say it again, I'll try not to say it too much, but a couple of times a season, the day that rivalry in football is removed is a day football's completely dead. They're taking bits away from us every season. You're not allowed that, you're not allowed that, you're not even allowed to call it man of the match anymore. They're taking bits away from us every single season, actually. Let's try and keep a hold of what we got that makes football enjoyable. And I think derbies in football is a big part of that. And I look forward to watching other teams' derbies that don't involve West Ham. I look forward to it. Blackburn versus Burnley. Yes, please. I'll have a bit of that. Thank you very much. So is it a big game? Yeah, it is. If we win, we'll be the way end will be singing about the fact that we're beating Spurs away from home. Just like if they beat us, they'll be singing about how West Ham get battered everywhere they go. And do you know something? So they should bring it on. Don't let people downplay big games anymore. I don't like it. It's almost like seen as a negative thing that you care about a football fixture, and it's just such a strange concept to me. I just there's some things I try and understand other people's opinions on things, but this is one of those that I have to put in room 101, which is I just don't get it. People downplaying the importance of fixtures. Never understood it whatsoever. So yeah, it's a big game. Yes, it's an important game. Yes, it's against our rivals, but it's also an important game for us because we've got 4 fixtures coming up between international breaks, which could really determine and shape the rest of our season. Not just us, Spurs as well, because they were to go on and get beat by us and lose their next couple of league games, as well as a couple of tricky ones in Europa League. They've got AZ Alkmaar, who we obviously beat, and then they've got Galatasaray away. So there's a couple of tricky fixtures coming up. So it's an important period for both teams here that determines what the conversation between the fan bases are during the next international break. What are you aiming for now? Are you aiming for the Europa League? Are you aiming for top 10, Champions League, whatever? I don't think that'll be us, by the way. It's an example. So yeah, big game on Saturday. I'm intrigued to see what Lopetegui is going to do and how he gets on, because I don't want to sit here and say it could go either way, but it could do. But I'm quite confident there's going to be goals in this one. I don't trust either team to keep a clean sheet.
No.
I do not. I don't trust either of us to keep a clean sheet. So that's good. Can I get any final words, Gonzo? Plus your all-important score prediction. We've got the exact same starting 11, but I think we might have a different score prediction for this one.
Yeah, quite possibly. Well said on the football rivalries. By the way, it was one of the weird things that was going on when we were selling Declan Rice. We were getting a lot of comments from Arsenal fans who were saying they can't believe that West Ham would rather sell Declan Rice to Manchester City than Arsenal. What's going on here? I couldn't believe that they couldn't believe it. Well, of course, of course.
You look at the Old Firm; they've stopped away fans from attending games. The Celtic fans can't go to Ibrox, and Rangers fans can't go to Celtic. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. It's the fans. They keep saying the fans make football, then they make it difficult for fans to be fans. But anyway,
yeah, shame as the way it's going. For this game, with Fullkrug, hard to miss what you haven't had, I think. And I don't just mean Fullkrug, I mean just strikers generally over the last few years. We seem to be really, really bad at it. We don't just appear to have missed out on the hottest young property in European football in terms of a striker. We seem to have missed out on both of them, which is really good even by West Ham standards. And I can't place much stock by Fullkrug being missing. I don't know. I don't even know if he works for our system yet. Don't know. I think it'll be a 2-2, Gio.
I'm going to go 3-2
to West Ham.
To West Ham.
Oh, blimey.
I think we're in for a bit of an entertainer on Saturday, actually. And I think we're going to, like I said, I always feel optimistic when we play Spurs. You know, speaking about lack of strikers, well, look at the guy we've got, Antonio. he does all right against Spurs. He's someone that gets up for this game, scoring frequently against them as well, and he brings out his celebrations and stuff like that. He loves this fixture.
He does.
So I'm really looking forward to this game on Saturday. Actually, it's, for the reasons of A, the entertainment, B, the match itself, and C, just to see where West Ham are, to get a bit of a feel for us, because if we win this one, I'm suddenly going to get even more excited for the Man United. I'm quite confident we beat Man U, by the way, but I'll get even more confident we're going to beat Man U as well. And suddenly we're in the top 6 of the Premier League, going in to face Nottingham Forest. You know, it's a healthy position. So
maybe we become Tottenham. we can moan about our crappy attacking football and only being in the top 6.
I hope not, because we've actually won a trophy. So I would like to.
It's not our cup final, actually.
Yeah, but anyway, if you've enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like on the video, like clicking thumbs up before you disappear in Scarper. Please subscribe to Hammers Chat, and just the 3 quick bits of admin: match bingo, links in description below; the online sale, links in description below. Want to send us a fan cam? Guess where the link is? Send description below. Myself and Gonzo, catch you in a bit.